arrival time of 7:10 p.m. This is for Kauai residents. 7:10 p.m. of Honolulu, sounding the sirens to alert the public of possible flooding inundation zones. This is a statewide event at the moment. The sirens and alerts will be provided throughout. First siren is expected to go off at 4:10, second siren at 5:10, and the next one at 6:10. I can imagine we've already gotten multiple alerts. You'll continue to receive alerts on your phone, on your watch, mobile devices. That's one of the things that, as disaster response has developed over the last several years, there are more ways to get information out to the public, keep the people informed as we are tracking this tsunami warning, as we give you a live look right now from our camera in Waikiki. Lots of people at the beach, not what you want to see at the moment in a situation like this. Let's bring it back to our Hawaii News Now studio right now. Meteorologist Ben Gutierrez is joining me at the moment. As this is unfolding, as we speak. Bringing in video from different sources, we're bringing in details from different sources. What sort of new information do we have over the last several minutes as we track this?
Well, right now, we've had a lot of basic questions from people because it's been a while since we've had something of this magnitude, no pun intended. By the way, I'm not a meteorologist. Just a little correction, weather anchor. But one thing that we were getting a lot of basic questions from viewers. One of them is, if I'm in Waikiki, what should I be doing now? Yes. Do I need to leave the hotel? Do I need to drive out of Waikiki? If you are in a high-rise, if you go, you will be safe on the 4th floor or above. This is what is called a vertical evacuation. So there's no need to evacuate the hotel. If you're in a good, solid high rise, go up to the 4th floor or higher, and you will be safe. If this also is for really any of the high rise areas, for example, Kailua Kona. Also, we're talking about Ka'anapali, even Kalapaki Beach. And so there's just a lot of places where you can go without having to leave the area. Okay, so our Lynn Kawano, we have teams out in the field right now. Our Lynn Kawano is standing by live at the Emergency Operations Center with Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Lynn.
Yeah, Mark, all city and county employees have been released. You can see that they are walking out right now. All state employees have also been released for the day. Now, what I'm told is the streets are packed. The parking garages are packed as people are trying to get home, trying to get to their families, get to safety ahead of all of this. We were told that the sirens were not going to go off until 4:10, but they did go off a couple of minutes ago. So about 3:24, they did go off here in downtown Honolulu. And joining me now is Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi. He just happened to be walking by to the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. We stopped him to get a quick update. Mayor, the sirens went off earlier than what we thought. Tell me.
I don't know why. I suspect there was a good reason. I was on my way to the operating center to find out exactly why. We were anticipating they would go off at 4:10. It was at 2:43 today when we got the official tsunami warning. This is an 8.7 earthquake off of Russia. You and I have been in the business a long time, through a lot of different things. I don't remember an earthquake of this caliber. So clearly, this is serious. And so we're evacuating all of our employees. Right now, the schedule is to have the sirens go off at 4:10, 5:10, 6:10. We're anticipating, if there's going to be a hit, is at 7:17 tonight. Then that's as much as I know right now. Anxious to get downstairs, but I want to go back to everything that we've said to people over the years. Get home, get safe as much as you can.
Yeah, and we want people to get to higher ground as well. That's kind of the issue. They have time right now, 3 hours to try to get over there. You've released everybody. Is that the idea then, to try to get people the time they need?
Anybody who's in a flood inundation zone, they were asking people to evacuate their properties to get to higher ground as possible, and that pretty much goes for anywhere. If you're already on higher ground, then you stay there. But it's always a rush for the hills, and we'll see. Don't want to sound panicked, but this is happening very fast, and so we need the community and the public to work with that and be responsive, and hopefully everybody stays safe on the road. Drive with aloha. Let people get just get there. Let's just hope for the best here right now, but we're going to go in there and prepare for the worst.
Okay, real quick before you go in there, who is in there and what is the plan for right now, 4 hours ahead of this?
Well, it'll be all of our emergency operating personnel. They come from all the different divisions, first responders, police. We'll certainly have our media team in there and everybody else. We're in full alert with civil defense. It's a whole cadre of people that come down there. This is our first time now since we've been mayor to have this, and the dry runs that we've gone through, it's quite a few people. So we'll try to communicate with the public as best we possibly can. Watch television as long as you have power. Listen to anything and everything you can get your hands on, but pay attention. This is serious, or we wouldn't be doing this.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor Rick Blangiardi, Emergency Operations Center, right now here in the basement of the Fosse Center. All employees in the city and county of Honolulu, except essential or first responders, have been released now, and they are heading home, as well as state workers. But I will tell you, the streets are pretty packed right now. Again, the sirens are supposed to go off 4:10, 5:10, 6:10. We were originally told that, but at 3:24, they started going off here in downtown Honolulu. That certainly got people a little bit more alerted. We did also run into Jim Ireland, Director of Emergency Services Department, earlier today, and here's what he had to tell us about moving his personnel around ahead of all of this.
Activate generators, bring in personnel. We also move ambulances that are in coastal areas, and they relocate to other areas that are not in the inundation zone. We have staffing for our ambulance bus and other larger vehicles in the event that we need to use those for medical evacuation, whether it's from hospitals or clinics or people who otherwise can't get out on their own. This is evolving.
Okay, so I guess they muted him. He's muted for some reason. Welcome in, everybody. The warnings have now been issued for Japan, Russia, Alaska, like the west coast of Alaska, the Aleutian Islands, Hawaii, and parts of the west coast of Canada and the
Apologies
USA.
for the technical errors right there. We are mapping this out as the situation unfolds. We were hearing from Jim Ireland, Director of the Emergency Services for the City and County of Honolulu. We heard Lynn in a live interview with Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi, and I think Mayor Blangiardi described this approach in an effective way. You know, this is not a situation to panic, but this is something that you want to take very seriously because it is moving very fast right now.
But one thing I want to say.
Hey, Matt.
Expected to come to Hawaii at 7:17. So looking at my watch very quickly, you've got about, we'll just say 3 hours. You've got 3 hours to do what you need to do. What you need to be doing right now, if you are in a tsunami evacuation zone, you should be getting together a go bag if you haven't done so already. You should have a plan to try and get to higher ground. You should know if you are in an evacuation zone. If you are, again, in a high-rise building close to the ocean, not need to leave the area. We have vertical evacuations. Then this is basically you go to the 4th floor or higher. At last check, when we were looking at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center site, we could see a lot of places are going to be seeing or could see a tsunami of 0.3, which is a foot, to 1 meter, which is 3 feet. So anywhere from about 1 to 3 feet is the prediction. This is based on what the water column has had. We haven't had any word on what's happening in the Aleutian Islands, which was placed under the warning and which is the closest area to the Kamchatka site. So that being said, I think we've been waiting for some data to come from there and maybe some word as to whether evacuations or a tsunami has actually showed up in that area. The other thing of note that I was looking at earlier this afternoon, there's a whole bunch of tsunami detection buoys around the Ring of Fire, which is where the tectonic plates meet and where earthquakes occur, all the way from the Philippines up through Japan, up to the Aleutians, down the west coast of the United States. And what happened, what basically it does is it will measure the water column. And so there was a jolt in the water column. It was only 6 inches, but remember, this is not a case where it's wind-generated waves like surf. This is completely different. It's an entire water column. The best way for me to explain it would be if you have a bathtub and you blow on the surface of the water, that's surf. If you take your hands under the water and you push up against the water, that's a tsunami. So very different behaviors.
Yeah, and very critical information. And those buoys right there provide a critical service for our forecasters about giving any sort of indication on measurements on the activity that we are keeping a close watch on and what we could expect. This is an event that you are covering from multiple perspectives. You have the scientific aspect of the quake itself and the tsunami warning, but you also have the response as statewide, as Hawaii residents prepare and take cover. We heard from Lynn Kawano at the City Emergency Operations Center, but you're also seeing those leave low-lying areas as we're giving you our traffic cams. Let's try again with First Alert Traffic and Jonathan Masaki. Jonathan, what can you tell us?
You know, as the mayor was saying, everybody should stay calm because of what's going on right now. As we look at a very low-lying highway, this is Farrington Highway in the Nanakuli area. You see somewhat of the gridlock that's happening right now. You see a police car in the distance over there trying to keep, things under control and keep traffic moving. No doubt people going in and out of the area right now. We're going to check in with the Army a little bit later to see if they will open Kolikoli Pass because, that is a route that they were suggesting. If something like this happens, they might use it to get, traffic away from the low-lying areas. So we'll get back to you on that if that's happening as we speak. Let's bring you into town right now. This is the situation right here, H1 and Middle Street. You see the traffic is flowing again at a very slow to medium pace. So you can tell the traffic is starting to build. I'm going to move a little bit farther down right now, get to Fort Shafter and the Moana Lua overpass. You see right here where that gridlock is happening as we speak. Let's get to Nimitz Highway right now. Not looking too bad. It maybe want to take Nimitz to get out of the city, looking pretty good in the westbound direction. Coming into town a little bit slow and go right there. If we go up to the Like Highway, traffic really not existing in that area. Let's get also to the Pali Highway right now. A little bit more busy in that area. So again, the key areas, let's go back to Nanakuli right now. This is where we see the most traffic gridlock as we speak because Farrington Highway is in a very low-lying area. We'll get more details as to how traffic is being affected right now as far as what's going on with this tsunami warning. Ben and Mark, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Yes, we're tracking this from a variety of perspectives at this moment as we are tracking this tsunami warning. We will be staying with you, providing critical information and updates throughout this entire event. It officially became a tsunami warning around 2:45 Hawaii time following an 8.7 magnitude quake off the far eastern coast of Russia. We currently have crews deployed across the city and across the state right now. Lynn Kawano is at the Emergency Operations Center as you see city leaders and emergency officials gathering right now to look at this and analyze the response and make preparations. We're seeing different shots from Waikiki. Jonathan was just showing you the shots on our leeward coast right now.
Yeah, with the leeward coast, one thing you need to keep in mind, once again, Farrington Highway is the only way in and out of that area. So it's going to get backed up. Here's what you should do instead. If you have a chance to, do not leave the Waianae coast. If you can, go further inland. I mean, there are places like Makaha Valley, there's Lulu'ule, some places like that where you can actually go inland and not cause a traffic backup because, again, yes, we have 3 hours, but one, do not panic. You have some time to take action here, and so don't go rushing away from the area. Think this out. If you got friends or relatives, and this is not just the Waianae coast, but anywhere in the islands, if you have friends or relatives who are in higher ground, try and get a hold of them. Conversely, if you are in higher ground, you might want to prepare or get a hold of maybe friends or relatives who are in an evacuation zone, and you might have to at least take them in for now. At this point, we don't know exactly precisely how big the tsunami will be. But
hey guys, I just turned the volume down a bit on that because I wanted to mention to Deja Vu. Deja Vu had said there's video of helicopters. Actually, I'm going to mute it for a second.
Because there's so much energy and it's been traveling across the
that there's video of helicopters capturing the footage of some of the tsunami waves that are already starting. And I tried to punch that into the chat for you, Deja Vu, but YouTube wouldn't accept it. And what I put in was, if you have a link for that, drop it in the chat, and I'll share that. I think that would be neat to see where the waves are at already. Hey Zardoz, everyone else I missed. I'm going to turn the volume back up on this, but I'll be with you guys. If anything messes up on this feed, we'll go to another one.
Lagoon by the Hilton Hawaiian Village, urging those that are on the shoreline over there to please evacuate the area. Now is not the time to be sightseeing and being in that type of southern coastal area. The sirens will be going off throughout the late afternoon into the evening. 4:10 p.m., 5:10 p.m., 6:10 p.m. First wave expected at 7:17. One of the silver linings with an event that you do have lead time. So since this has become a tsunami warning at 2:45 Hawaii time, even though we were seeing traffic from our different cams, you have to say that this has been a pretty rapid response, from those across the state as we're looking at this.
The good thing is that people are reacting. People are taking this seriously for the most part. We see maybe some exceptions right now on our live cam from Waikiki, or maybe they are not aware because they might not be on our alert system here in Honolulu. And so once again, there is some time, but if they are in a lower lying area, if they're not in a high-rise building, they need to move away. I know it's a couple of hours out, but at least residents statewide have been taking this very seriously, taking quick action. But again, don't panic.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, you would not find me on the beach there if there was tsunami warnings. I would be getting in the car and heading to high ground. You did not want to be anywhere near that water.
And this is all part of the emergency
I think these
response
people are
right now.
crazy.
When state and city officials hold emergency briefings and emergency preparedness drills, this is all part of it. So you have state crews going on low-lying areas, are in attendance to please leave the area. Take this very seriously. A tsunami warning issued for the entire state of Hawaii right now. The specifics in terms of wave height, activity, still too early to tell. But Ben and Drew Davis, you two are keeping a close watch on what we're seeing, gathering as much useful information as possible. What can you tell us about the quake and the ensuing?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about how much time we still have. Again, the earliest estimates, again, for Honolulu, 7:10 p.m. The rest of the state potentially 7:17 p.m. So we still have several hours. So the time now is to prepare. We're actually going to take a look at one of the tools that we use whenever we have a tsunami warning like this. You can see this is the entirety of the Pacific Ocean. You can see each one of these rings right here indicates about an hour for how long the tsunami takes to propagate across the ocean. And Ben, do you want to point out where we're seeing this is right off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia. If we count this out, this is 1 hour from Kamchatka, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and then 6 hours. Again, we saw the initial earthquake at 1:30 p.m., so that lines up pretty close to this prediction from, this is directly, I believe, from NOAA. It's a pretty old map, but it still holds up today. And some of the information that we have from previous earthquakes, especially in the same region, last week we had that tsunami watch from the same area, magnitude 7.5. That was a slip strike fault movement, which is atypical when it comes to these fault movements over near Russia. Thrust movements are very often which are able to generate those tsunamis. And Ben, I do want to point out that one of the previous earthquakes that we've seen from this same exact region, the same exact fault line, was in 1952. Just from some information that we have from NOAA on previous earthquakes, there were no deaths reported in Hawaii, but the waves caused houses to collide, beach boats, destroyed piers, scoured beaches, and moved road pavement. Maximum wave heights were 4 meters, 1 meters, 9 meters, and 3 meters on Hawaii, Maui, Oahu, and Kauai, respectively.
Yes, so if you're getting that into English conversions, 9 meters is basically 27 feet.
That's nearly a 30-foot wave inundation.
We're looking at a 30-foot inundation. So once again, I know we're zoomed out a little bit, but just think of this red spot here. This is the bullseye. This is us. And this is where we have seen, in 2011, we had the tsunami from the Fukushima area. It came from here, right here. And so it did take a little while to get here. It got here like about 3 in the morning. Also approximately 6-7 hours for it to get here. So it takes just a teeny bit longer for that to happen. But those of you who were here in 2011, remember that we did have a tsunami. We did have some damage in Ke'ehi Lagoon. We had a house swept away in Kealakekua. We also had some damage along Ali'i Drive in Kailua Kona because the water was coming in over the wall onto Ali'i Drive into the storefronts that were over there, because once again, it's not a wave that will come in and then go back out. It's a wave that it's just basically a lot of energy. You're talking about a water column here, so it's basically the entire ocean from top to bottom, and so it's not just the surface. Like I was saying earlier, a surf wave, basically, just think of your bathtub, and if you fan or you blow on the surface of the water, that's surf. If you go into the bathtub and you take your hands like this and you push up against the water, that's a tsunami.
And that's the same type of movement that's caused by those thrust fault movements. And the entire tectonic plate is just pushing upwards and displacing all of that water, and that's why we're watching that threat. The entirety of the water column right off of Russia moving across the Pacific Ocean. We've got warnings up for Alaska, a warning up for Hawaii, and of course we're still getting more information from the Tsunami Warning Center on where we have watches and advisories as well.
Yeah, but the other thing to think about is the magnitude. We talked about magnitudes here. The Fukushima was, I think, a 9. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember there was one in Chile that caused a lot of damage. 1960, right from here, we had almost 12 hours. We had several hours to get here, but it still caused some damage. Also, 1946. Right up here, this was the April Fool's Day tsunami. This is the one that happened on April 1st. Sirens went off. Hilo was devastated because there might have been some people who heard the sirens and thought it's April 1st. No, tragically, it did take some lives, caused quite a bit of damage. And this is why you've got the soccer fields over in Hilo now. There used to be buildings there. After the 1960 earthquake, all that came down. So once again, we're looking at this area, Kamchatka. This is where it is, and then it's got to make its way here. And again, it's traveling at about 500 to 700 miles per hour. If you're out on the ocean, you probably ain't going to see it. In fact, there was like a 6-inch column rise in the Dart buoys a little bit earlier, and it was a very sharp rise. And so that tells me, just looking at it, not necessarily as someone who is from the USGS, that there was a water column change, that there was a tsunami generated, and that's in deep water. And so deep water, I don't know if it's in meters or in feet, but 5,000 was the number, 5,400. And that means you've got a whole column of water now that's traveling at about 700, as fast as 700 miles per hour over the Pacific, about as fast as a jetliner taking you from here to Los Angeles, for example. And then once that water column starts hitting shallower ground, it'll just start squishing together, so forth. It's going to both get higher and wider, and so all that energy has potential to cause some major damage on the shorelines. Mark?
Thank you very much, Ben. We are tracking the response right now to the tsunami warning currently in effect. Here is a live look at Waikiki. Just moments ago, we saw DLNR crews patrolling the area, telling people that are on the beach, on the sand, and now is the time to vacate the area. We have crews deployed statewide right now. Let's go to our producer, A'ali'i, who is in Waikiki and can describe the scene and kind of the action being taken by emergency officials right now. What can you tell us, A'ali'i?
Yeah, Mark, so you can see off into the distance, like you mentioned, like in our vehicle, there is an officer walking along shore right now. He is telling people to evacuate, but as you can see, people are somewhat lingering. Some, though, are listening to the orders and they're making their way slowly to the parking lot so they can evacuate. But again, that officer's still trying to get people to get out of the water. There are still some still swimming, kind of ignoring that warning, maybe not seeing the officer on land. But I'm near the Hilton Hotel, kind of near the Ala Moana Bowls area. And again, there are maybe about several dozen people here along the beach and in the water, kind of slowly evacuating here. Some still in the water. I'm still looking for that DLNR officer. He's making his way through the crowds, and people are heeding that order to get out of the beach and out of the water. So we'll continue to keep up over here at Ala Moana Bowls near the Hilton Hotel, and we'll keep you up to date with the very latest. But for now, back to you.
Ali, thank you very much. Yeah, this is all part of the response. One of the things with this is that you have lead time. This isn't a time to panic. This is a time to be ready, time to be prepared. So the earliest estimated wave arrival time is 7:17. That is about 3.5 hours from now. We were seeing earlier that there is traffic throughout the city. The EOC has been activated. Governor Josh Green has told state employees, has instructed them to head home with the warning in effect. We are hearing from the U.S. Army garrison that the military is prepared to potentially open Kole Kole Pass for Leeward Coast residents if need be. But at this time, it is our understanding that neither the state nor the city has asked for that to happen. But military officials stand at the ready to potentially open up Kole Kole Pass if that is warranted in this situation.
Yeah, they just did some work up on Kole Kole Pass as well. It was getting a little bit deteriorated, but I know that military officials, the Army, and government officials have been working together to try and prepare it for a night like tonight.
So I just dropped the volume down there for a minute. I forget who it was that was saying, a lot of people underestimate the power and the energy in the water. And I agree with that completely. An 8.8 earthquake magnitude is nothing small. Like, this was a serious earthquake. And hey, Silver Shire and everyone else I missed. I got the feeling someone said Steve Harloha has the coastline on his video. We can, or on his channel, we can definitely check out some of the coastline videos. I think EarthCam's got several. But I know the epicenter was on the east coast, southeast coast of Japan, which they'll show here in the maps again too. I was watching this for a bit before I went live and decided to share it. We'll turn the volume back up for now.
So, with this quake happening at 1:30 Hawaii time, Alaska and Japan were the regions first named in the tsunami warning, and we are starting to see the impacts of that now. AP just reporting a tsunami has hit the coastal areas of Russia's Kuril Islands and Japan's large northern island of Hokkaido. So it speaks to the severity, the seriousness of something like this.
Now, it doesn't say how large the tsunami was, but it is significant that one has been seen, that one has reached the Kuril Islands and also for Hokkaido. And so we may get video from that a little bit later. We will await that, but at this time, we don't know how big the tsunami was, but apparently something has hit.
When a tsunami does make landfall, does that do anything to dissipate what potential effects could be for other areas that are under warnings?
No. Because what happens is that you've got this large, basically it's like an underwater wall of water. So basically what you're looking at is all this energy. It's going to sweep past each island. And here's one thing that could happen where that energy will continue on, and then it will, it's like when you have, I don't know if you've seen the Tour de France, but they've got like the roundabouts and the bicyclists go around it and then they converge on the other side. That energy is going to converge on the other side. That wave energy will. And so some people have been asking, won't, like, say, Paliva, the North Shore, be the ones impacted the most? No, because it will basically affect all sides of the island, because that energy will also wrap around, converge again on the other side, and keep going. You might get some areas where it's a little bit blocked, because like Molokai into Lahaina, West Maui, you might get some of that. Or, depending on the direction, and I haven't had a chance to really look at the maps, it could amplify that energy. And so the best thing to do is not try to estimate or guesstimate, really, which is something that I'm kind of doing right now. But basically, I'm telling you that what you should do is, if you're in an evacuation zone, prepare to leave.
Precisely. And this just shows that we're seeing updates and we're seeing the effects of this tsunami already in parts of the world. So a tsunami has hit the coastal areas of Russia's Kuril Islands and the island of Hokkaido in Japan. Still gathering details on wave heights, damage. That is just the initial report right now. Back here in Honolulu, we're also under the warning right now. So the estimated arrival time is 7:17 tonight. You still have people in the water at Waikiki. I got to say, though, weather officials, emergency officials have been on top of this, providing updates when possible, when available, as Hawaii responds to this event. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins is tracking the forecast and what we can see here. Jen, what can you tell us?
And we have been getting many alerts on the phone, and I know it could be alarming once you hear all of the noises coming from the phone, from the TV, but like we want to stress, just stay calm and be prepared. and just move inland. As we take a closer look at tsunami energy, let's take a closer look at what we're expecting. Along the fault line, you can see all the action. The earth plates rub together, causing an underwater earthquake. And that's exactly what we see off the coast of Russia. The earthquake causes a vertical push of seawater to rise. And then as the wave spreads into shallower waters, it then grows in height. And history has showed that we have been seeing tsunami activity in past years, like Ben was talking about, a number of them. The first wave expected to arrive at 7:17, a little bit sooner over on Kauai, about 7:10 in Honolulu. Hilo in the past has seen about 0.3 meters. It's about a foot in rise, and also other harbors anywhere from 0.1 to 0.2 of a magnitude 8 earthquake. And magnitude between 8 and 9 in 1959, magnitude 8 from Russia generated anywhere from that 0.1 to 0.2, so that's about 4 to 8 inches. Some areas though, like Hilo, saw lots of damage, and in the past boat damage and also even houses. That houses were actually taken off of its foundation with this caliber. So if you're right at the coastline and you're not on stable grounds, that's a big concern. So you will want to move inland, of course, move Malka. And we're expected to see, in many cases, that the initial energy will come in anywhere from 0.1 to 0.3 meters. So anywhere from that 5 to 8 inches mark at 7 o'clock. But then it could jump up as the hour progresses to 8 o'clock to 1 to 2 meters, according to some of the preliminary data that we're seeing. But this is all just preliminary, so we should be prepared for the worst situation here. And it's very unpredictable how strong the currents could be. In the past, we've seen this, that we haven't seen a lot of runoff and also maybe flooding at the coast, but we saw a lot of currents and also those strong currents that were a big concern. So starting at 7:10 tonight, Honolulu this evening, we will be seeing that. And like we were talking about, it started off as a watch, and we saw that tsunami watch, which was issued earlier today, a little after 1:30, just to give us notice to prepare to take action. But then it was upgraded quickly to a warning, and with together, significant widespread inundation is imminent or expected now. This is where we fall under dangerous coastal flooding and currents, a possibility, especially if it comes in at 1 to 2 meters, which is a big concern for us, and especially if you're along the coastlines. If you're living in a boat or parked at harbors, this is the time to prepare and to move inland. Urgent action to protect life and property, including those evacuations. So just take your time. We do have some time until the 7 o'clock hour. Gather some of those belongings and then maybe contact some friends that you could stay with that is inland. We are going to be watching the times. Like Ben was talking about, in deep ocean, tsunami waves reach speeds about 500 plus miles per hour. That's a typo there. That's more like a jet liner. And then in shallow waters, it's about 30 miles per hour. So once it gets closer, it does slow down, but it piles up. So in the early evening hours in Alaska, we're talking about 4:46 to 5:46 Alaska time. That's when they're seeing arrival. And then along the west coast here, we're seeing that anywhere from 11:35 to midnight, and that's Pacific time there. And then we're already seeing that energy already in places like Japan. Back here at home, it's after 7 o'clock this evening. So talk with the family, talk about a plan, and don't rush right now. Just calmly get all your belongings together, especially if you're at those harbors or right at the beach. Mark?
Thank you very much, Jen. Very critical, very important information. We are approaching the top of the 4 o'clock hour right now. If you're just joining us, tsunami warning is in effect for the entire state of Hawaii following an 8.7 magnitude quake, which struck off the far eastern coast of Russia about 1:30 Hawaii time this afternoon. And a full-blown response is in effect right now at the city, state, and military levels here in Hawaii. The City Emergency Operations Center has been activated. We've already seen DLNR patrolling areas, low-lying coastal areas. We saw the shots at Waikiki Beach, urging beachgoers to leave the area. First wave is expected at 7:17. We're already seeing reports of a tsunami hitting parts of Russia and Japan. if we do see effects here, that would be the first time Hawaii has seen a tsunami since 2011 following an earthquake off in Japan. A big tsunami.
Yeah, because we have had some tsunamis before. There was one off Chile a little bit later, a little after 2011. This one wasn't big, but it did cause some currents. But it technically is still a tsunami.
Stephanie Lum covered the 2011 tsunami and the effects here in Hawaii, and she has more. What can you tell us, Steph?
Yeah, Mark and Ben, I've been listening to the coverage, and like you folks have been saying, now is not the time to panic, but it is the time to be prepared and to heed the warnings and do what is necessary to get out safely with you and your family. After all, as you mentioned, Hawaii was under a tsunami warning back in 2011 after that major earthquake in Japan, and the waves that were generated and were sent over to Hawaii from that earthquake in 2011 ended up causing tens of millions of dollars in damage.
Hawaii was under a tsunami warning back in March 11, 2011. A magnitude 9.1 earthquake hit Tohoku, Japan. Waves disabled nuclear reactors, washed over and destroyed entire towns. More than 18,000 people died. The deadly earthquake was the largest magnitude ever recorded in Japan and the third largest in the world since 1900. The waves, over 200 of them from that tsunami, caused damage here in Hawaii. $7.5 million worth of damage across the state. Those waves of varying heights reached our shores early at 3 in the morning. Many businesses and roads were flooded and washed out. Haleiwa Harbor saw damage to the dock and boats that were not able to sail out in time. It was the same scene at La Mariana Harbor near Sand Island. Big Island's Kona coast sustained substantial damage, where the Kona Village Resort is located, as well as low-lying areas on Maui.
And in the end, of course, tens of millions of dollars in damage after that major earthquake and tsunami from Japan back in 2011. And officials are hoping that everybody once again heeds the warning.
Hey, Progressive Patriot and everybody, good to see you. I just wanted to address Progressive Patriot's comment here regarding his, he's in Florida. It would be the West Coast that would be in question. And I don't think that it's so much Florida. It's more like California, those western states, although you never know. They will be showing the map. I think they've shown the map twice, I think, since I went live about 40 minutes ago. But this news feed is coming from Hawaii, so it's actually kind of in the middle of it. I like the idea of restreaming from here. So we'll turn the volume back up, but I'm here and I'll address anything that I need to.
South Shore is not going to affect, but what we saw in that 2011 event was the island wrap and an effect statewide.
Yeah, two things to remember from this. Remember Ke'ehi Lagoon, La Mariana Harbor, I covered that. Several boats were damaged. This came in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and so that energy, even though it's on the South Shore, still reached the South Shore from Japan, which is basically on the opposite side of the island. And so you've got that energy moving through. Second thing to remember, that particular earthquake, the Japan earthquake of 2011, was huge, was massive, was extremely strong. Basically, a quick note about magnitudes. The one that we're looking at is an 8.7. The one that in 2011 was 9.1. They're almost the same. Maybe about, I would say, well, I'll put it this way. Every time you go up a number, it's not just incremental, it's exponential. And so basically the amount of energy in an 8 is 30 times the energy of 7. 7 is 30 times the energy of a 6, and so on.
Have a good
and so
sleep,
forth. So when
Emerald
you're talking about
Conqueror.
a magnitude 8 and a magnitude 9, 8 is strong. Last week we had the 7.2, or a couple of days ago, from Kamchatka, Russia. And so this is something that's about 30, maybe a 45 times stronger than the one that we saw last week. And so this is definitely something that bears watching. We've also seen some buoy data reports where we've seen anywhere from a foot to maybe 3 feet out in the open ocean. And so there is something going on out there that bears watching. There's no buoys out in the middle of the ocean. They're just along the shorelines. And so
79. I didn't figure it out at first either. I forgot. Emerald Coast Stacker is Conqueror of Balls. Just switched the channel name.
Don't panic.
There you
You've
go.
got time. Just calmly go through what you need to do and where you need to go. If you are not in an evacuation zone, stay where you are. You're going to be safe. You will be fine. Do not head to the ocean. Do not try to help. Do not get in the way of emergency responders or people who are trying to leave. Do not be a looky-loo. Do not be, don't go and just say, oh, I'm going to get a great Instagram post of this tsunami. No, don't do that. There are, there's a possibility of damage. There's that potential. And so what you need to do is not get in the way of people who are trying to leave or trying to actually, our first responders who are trying to help people who are trying to leave.
And throughout that entire time, we should reinforce Hawaii News Now will stay with you the entire time. We have wall-to-wall coverage, comprehensive team coverage with our first alert weather team, keeping track of the latest updates. We're also mapping out the response as residents map out their evacuation and disaster plans. Earlier, we heard from Lynn Kawano at the City Emergency Operations Center. We have our very own Dylan Ancheta standing by on Maui, giving a look at what is happening on the Valley Isle. Take it away, Dylan.
Hey, aloha. First off, I apologize if my audio cuts in and out. We are on a very remote setup here, but I can tell you that I am in the Kahului area right outside of the University of Hawaii Maui College. In fact, the Queen Kahumanu Center is just behind me. And right now, coming into this area, this is a tsunami evacuation zone. There is still a long line of cars all the way in, and this traffic is not moving very fast. So I have heard sirens. The first sirens that I heard was actually around 3:20 this afternoon, and we know that that siren was cued. We know that that siren was cued for the coastal areas, the people in those areas that really should heed the warnings and evacuate now. But again, people are still going into this low-lying area, which is concerning because we would like people to evacuate out from this area. And just this way, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around. There is an emergency siren right behind these telephone poles, and so we are expecting to hear them go off in about 2 or 3 minutes because, again, as we know, the emergency officials are sounding the sirens at 4:10, 5:10, and 6:10 to allow people to get the notification that they should be evacuating these areas. So this is the traffic going out of this area, but you can still see the long line of cars all the way through. People are still making their way into this Kahului area. At this point, we are still trying to get in touch with the Maui County officials that just got here to this area not too long ago. So we continue to gather more details as to where the evacuation points for Maui residents are, and we will bring that to you on air and online. But for now, that is pretty much all I have, guys. We'll send things back to you.
Of course, we still have a lot of other things going on. We did get some pictures from Ko'olina. There were a lot of people who were leaving Ko'olina out on the leeward coast. I will assume that those are folks who are either in the low-lying townhouses or folks who were at the beach. But if you were in some of the taller buildings, Aulani and so on, those buildings, you are safe to stay there. Just go on the 4th floor or higher, and so you don't cause a big traffic jam, and that will also add to any congestion that's going on Farrington Highway as well. And so, again, if you're in a high-rise, and this is not just for Ko'olina, Waikiki, Kaanapali, etc., go to a higher floor, you will be safe there.
Yeah, we're seeing the images emerge right now. Let's take you to a live look at Hokkaido, Japan right now. This is from a aerial helicopter shot as reports emerged several minutes ago that the first effects of this tsunami are already being felt on the global stage. Tsunami seen in Russia's Kuril Islands and in Hokkaido, Japan right now. Again, this is a live look from a helicopter shot. You see the response that you want to be looking for, right? Those heading for high ground. So this is, and at this time, no details have emerged in terms of damage. Right now is 4:10 p.m. You may be hearing some of the audio from the emergency alerts right now.
Yep. My
Coming through
going off
on
right
our
now,
phone.
too.
You'll be getting this on your phone as sirens go off around the state right now. Sirens will be going off at 4:10, 5:10, and 6:10 p.m. As we're bracing and anticipating for what the effect is going to be from this tsunami warning after in. I'm told the latest update from the National Weather Service is that it was an 8.0 quake, upgraded to an 8.7 about 20 minutes later.
Yeah,
and about
USGS now has it at an 8.8. Marginal, but still, you know, a pretty good increase. And again, it gets it closer to the 9.1 that the Japan earthquake was. Very briefly about Japan and the live pictures that we saw in Hokkaido Prefecture, and that is that Japan has a very robust tsunami warning system. They've got sirens, they've got announcements, and people there know what to do. But especially after 2011, it's 14 years, yes, but I'm sure it's seared into the memory of a lot of people seeing the destruction that the tsunamis caused back in 2011 from the Fukushima earthquake.
Yeah, and that was a rapid response because if the earthquake happened at 1:30 Hawaii time, it's 4 o'clock our time right now, and so you're already seeing that the first tsunamis are hitting parts of Russia and Hokkaido in Japan. We are staying on top of this. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins is standing by with any new information that is coming into the newsroom. Jen.
And just to review the tsunami warning, so all of the islands under effect with that warning, with the first wave arriving just after 7 o'clock today. And just to break it down, it seems like last week we did have that routine with the tsunami watch. It was kind of a little bit of a precursor of what to expect for this week. And you could actually see watch versus advisory versus warning. Let's break it down for you. This was issued as a watch initially when the actual magnitude 8.7 earthquake happened. You see issued first when the earthquake occurred to generate a potential tsunami. It gives you fair warning that it could be upgraded to a tsunami advisory or a tsunami warning or be canceled. And it was canceled last week, as you remember. As far as tsunami advisory, upgraded from a watch if potential tsunami could cause strong currents or dangerous waves. Widespread inundation is not expected. But then on the other hand, this is where we are right now, a tsunami warning. Significant widespread inundation is imminent or expected. Dangerous coastal flooding and currents expected, with all of the numbers coming in, with the magnitude, the depth of this earthquake, and already seeing signs of waves that are already occurring, of course, in Russia and all the way in Japan. Dangerous coastal flooding and currents will likely be arriving after 7 o'clock today. Urgent action to protect life and property, including evacuations. So closest to the epicenter, that's where you see the biggest of the tsunami waves. We're already getting reports off of Russia, 3 to 4 meters. Where does that fall? About 9 to 13 feet. And that's exactly what they saw within the last couple of hours. A lot of action there on top of the already earthquake that they face. And then NHK is reporting the first tsunami wave, pretty small in Japan at 30 centimeters. That's just over a foot, but that could easily grow as more energy pushes their way. So something we're watching very carefully in hours ahead. Like we were talking about in deep oceans, you can see how far the epicenter is from Hawaii itself. It travels pretty quickly because of the speed that it's going over open waters. In deep ocean, speeds can reach up to 500 miles per hour. That's comparable to a jet plane. So if you went recently flying to the mainland and you calculate how fast it gets from point A to point B. That's kind of the same idea behind these tsunami wave arrivals. So arrival times early evening for Alaska, anywhere from 4:46 to 5:46 p.m. Alaska time. As far as along the west coast, early to late evening from 11:35 to midnight Pacific time. We're expecting that. Here at home, like we've been talking about, arriving just after 7 o'clock, with Honolulu seeing the first of the impacts. So we're expecting all of that energy to push our way. Once it reaches shallow waters, it slows down. There's a lot of friction there. We have, of course, the outer reefs that has to face, and that slows down to 30 miles per hour. And then it's very unpredictable what kind of energy we'll get when it comes to the strong currents. We'll have very strong rip currents, and that's why it's important not to be in the waters, even if it's not expected to be big waves. But initial heights may be falling between 0.1 to 0.3. This is all initial and preliminary, and then potentially they're saying now up to 1 to 2 meters coming our way, and that will be arriving probably after 8 o'clock. So a lot of elements, a lot of moving parts, and it's a very dynamic situation. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Jen. Yes, very dynamic indeed, but not a time to panic. There is lead time with an event like this. We are right now, it's 4:15, so about 3 hours out from the first anticipated wave arriving, the first anticipated effects here in the island chain. We've already seen footage of tsunami, the after effects in the Hokkaido prefecture in Japan, which is the first place it has impacted. We have crews across the state. Let's head over to Lynn Kawano, who is standing by live at Honolulu's Emergency Operations Center. What can you tell us, Lynn?
Mark, we are upstairs of the EOC at the Frank Fossey building. You know, city and county and state workers were all released about 3 o'clock today. That's so that they can go home, get their families prepared, get themselves prepared, and stay safe. But as a result, we saw hundreds of people leaving at one time. And of course, we now have traffic jams because of that. Always at about 4:15, we're going to have traffic jams. But when you have something like this, people trying to get out a little bit earlier, it's going to be even worse. You know, not a whole lot worse than what we normally see at about 4:15, but we do know that a lot of people took that time and left about 3 o'clock. The sirens just went off at 4:10 on time here in downtown. We anticipated 4:10. We were told 5:10 and 6:10 as well, but we did get a surprise siren about 3:24 today as well. That is just to alert people. While no one is panicking here in downtown, we are seeing people in a hurry trying to get home, trying to pick up their kids, trying to pick up their families as well. And, you know, as we saw people coming in, we stopped the mayor and talked to him. He said they were just getting activated, meaning they were just getting all the first responders here at the EOC downstairs. We did also get a chance to talk to Dr. Jim Ireland of the Emergency Services Department. Here's what he had to say is going on right now with his crews around the island.
Activate generators, bring in personnel. We also move ambulances that are in coastal areas, and they relocate to other areas that are not in the inundation zone. We have staffing for our ambulance bus and other larger vehicles in the event that we need to use those for medical evacuation, whether it's from hospitals or clinics or people who otherwise can't get out on their own. This is evolving.
Yeah, evolving is the word to describe it. We also saw HFD and some other first responders heading down to the EOC where they will have some briefings. Now, we have been told by the city and county of Honolulu, by the mayor's office, that we will get frequent briefings after they get settled and get themselves organized. So we hope to have that in the next 30 minutes or so. Back to you guys on set.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lynn. Lynn Kawano standing by at the Emergency Operations Center at the Frank Fossey building. You saw what she was describing, right? Employees had the all clear to take off, but what ensued after that were the traffic jams throughout Honolulu, different parts of the city, you know, as people are heading over to their evacuation areas. We do have some information.
Yeah, the County of Hawaii has just told us we've been talking a lot about Oahu, but this is a statewide event, and so there are some counties or some areas that have opened shelters. So for Hawaii Island, County of Hawaii, emergency shelters are being opened at the following locations. So Pu'ueo Community Center, Panaeva Park, Kea'au Armory, Pahoa Neighborhood Facility, definitely for Lower Puna, Ka'u District Gym, Na'alehu Community Center, Yano Hall, Kealakehe High School Gym, Waimea Community Center, Hisaoka Gym, and Honoka'a Gym. And so we just got this information in.
Yep.
If you missed the list, you can probably check in with Hawaii County Civil Defense, but we'll try to get that information online and also have a screen ready for you so you can take a look. Again, that's for the County of Hawaii. Oh, we also have a list on Kauai.
Yeah, Kauai as well. So that was Hawaii County. Kauai areas that are open for evacuation shelters are Kapa'a High School, Kapa'a Middle School, Ele'ele Elementary School, Koloa Library, Kauai Community College, Kalaheo Neighborhood Center, Kilauea Elementary School. Those refuge areas will have parking, restroom facilities available, and if you are bringing a pet, you're advised to please bring a kennel, food, and water. So we're seeing this statewide response right now as evacuation sites open in different areas. The counties have their respective plans. You also have the state keeping close tabs on it. We'll be hearing from the governor sometime this evening as state leaders get ready for this. Our very own Mahealani Richardson has spoke with Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda and has an update on that. What can you tell us, Mahal?
Well, Mark and Ben, I'm so glad you talked about those emergency shelters being open, because as that list was just being released, I was on the phone with Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda, and he said all of the leaders of Hawaii Island are in that emergency operations center on Hawaii Island. They have gathered. They're making sure that people stay safe and are prepared. Here's what he had to say on the phone just a few minutes ago.
Sure. Right now we're at the EOC, all hands on deck. Every department is here, fire, police, public works. We got state folks here as well, national parks, and we're just getting prepared. So informing the public through our social media, and thank you for allowing us to be using your medium as well. So we're ready.
Governor Green has released state workers from their jobs this afternoon. What about county workers for Hawaii Island?
Same here. We already sent a memo out releasing all of our government workers, county workers. In addition, we also ask our county workers to take any valuables, computers, cash, anything that is of value, because we have our facilities in the evacuation areas. So we have to, be cognizant of that as well.
And obviously, Hawaii Island, very large swaths of area, especially for evacuation zones along the coastline. Can you tell us how the hotels are doing, especially on the Hilo as well?
Yes, we are in correspondence with the hotels. They are aware that they could use any one of our shelters island-wide, and we've been offering bus service as well to our hotel folks if they need transportation in getting to higher ground.
Are you hearing of any problems with traffic or people evacuating at this time?
Yes, there is significant traffic congestion, and so we just put out a message through our radio waves letting people know, to be patient. We have time. That's what this warning is about. It gives us time to evacuate in a safe and respectful manner, and that's our messaging going out.
Mayor, what about your grocery stores, KTA and other large grocery stores? Are people going there right now to get supplies? What's the outlook there?
Yeah, I haven't got information on that, but I suspect they are going out. We want to remind our residents to, don't panic. We will be okay, but we'll get through this. This is a warning. It could be, definitely could be a tsunami, and so that's why we have to really be ready for it. But we don't want people, jamming our supermarkets and such. It could cause, especially if those supermarkets are in the danger zone.
Mayor, what about for people specifically in Hilo, those long-timers who may recall the last tsunami? What are they saying today?
Well, a lot of them still have trauma. Hilo's a place where we've had many, very strong experiences of the tsunamis that came by. I mean, in my own family, my father, he talks about 2 tsunamis in his lifetime. So, we are taking this very seriously. there is a huge earthquake. It reminds us of the past, and so that's why we are all hands on deck, and this might be the one.
Mayor, we really appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you would like Hawaii viewers to know about what Hawaii County is doing?
Thank you. I want all our residents to know that we're doing I'm here at the EOC, and I'm watching our team, collaborate, and I'm talking across jurisdictions. Right now it doesn't matter. Everybody is working really well together. We're communicating. I'm so proud of the Big Island. We've been through this before. We're an island of resilience, and we are getting ready, and we're getting prepared.
And that was Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda on the phone just a few minutes ago. Those destructive tsunamis that especially hit Hilo were in 1946, 1960, and 1975. So those longtime residents definitely remember. And that's why the mayor says that they are preparing in the emergency evacuation center, and also that they are preparing those emergency shelters, making sure that tourists in the hotel districts have buses just in case they need it. Also, Ben and Mark, I wanted to let you know that I just got off the phone with Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines. I asked them if any cancellations of flights at this point. They said there are no cancellations of flights, at least for Alaska and Hawaiian, but they will let us know. I also called Maui's airport duty manager. No closures at this point, but we're continuing to monitor that situation. That's the latest from here. I'm Mahea Lenny Richardson. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Mahea. A very comprehensive response, as we just heard from Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda. These updates from state agencies are coming in throughout the afternoon into the evening. We just got this from the Department of Transportation, and forgive me, I'm going to just be reading these off here. Yeah. But DOT is saying they've released details for each island. So for Kauai, avoid Hanalei to allow people to evacuate. They are not closing Wailua Bridge. For Oahu, Likelike townbound has been opened. Kolekole Pass has been opened to leave the leeward coast. Nanakuli contraflow has been shut down. And on Maui, State Highways is staging vehicles and equipment. What else can you tell us, Ben?
Yeah, on Molokai, Ikalaupapa Airport and personnel are ready to evacuate to the lighthouse, which is at higher elevations there because it's obviously right next to the ocean there in a very vulnerable area. On Hawaii Island, Hilo Airport, commercial operations have been suspended to facilitate evacuations from Keaukaha because it's right next to the ocean, among other things, but then also Keaukaha. That neighborhood still has to be able to leave and get past the airports. Once again, commercial operations at Hilo Airport have been suspended. And for all islands, the Coast Guard captain of the port has ordered all vessels to follow their procedures to leave port. Again, Coast Guard captain of the port ordering all vessels to follow their procedures to leave port. Reason is you are a lot safer out on the open ocean because the tsunami will be very small. It's just going to be, a little bit of energy, but you do not want to have your vessel caught up on the coastline when all that tsunami energy
slamming against the harbors.
Yeah, because it could. I remember in 2011 seeing Ke'e Lagoon and the La Mariana Harbor, and a lot of boats had been capsized. Many of them had sunk. A lot of them had been bashed against the harbors and against the piers. And so if you are or know somebody who has a vessel, basically the Coast Guard is saying at this point, follow the procedures to start bringing your vessel to the open ocean. And so just get that prepared. You've got some time to do so, but make sure if you want to do that or need to do that, start getting it done.
So we are seeing these updates continue to come in from government, city, state, and county leaders mapping out this response right now. Anticipated first wave time for any sort of impact to the Hawaiian Islands is 7:15, around 7:17 tonight. We've already seen footage of the response in Hokkaido in Japan after the tsunami hit areas of Japan and also parts of Russia. The first effects following this 8.7 magnitude quake. Drew Davis has a closer look at the quake itself and the ensuing tsunami that has been generated. Drew.
Mark, Ben, of course, we've been talking a lot about the potential for the entire column of water to be moving across the Pacific Ocean. I want to talk about what's causing this compared to where we actually had the tsunami watch about a week ago. Last week's earthquake, the fault movement, was called a strike slip. It's where both of the tectonic plates near Russia were moving parallel and away from each other, causing the earthquake that we saw, but it wasn't enough to displace all the water and create a large tsunami. However, what's possible with this earthquake, this may be a major thrust movement, obviously moving up a tectonic plate, displacing all of that water, and that's very, very common over the plate interface that's right near Russia. Last week's earthquake, where we had the tsunami watch, was actually atypical. It was a strike slip, and now we don't have confirmation just yet, but this is potential that it was a major thrust earthquake. Of course, let's take a look at the details out there. We've got a magnitude 8.8. Giving you a recap, we had an 8.0 magnitude earthquake issued around 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. That was upgraded around 20 minutes later to an 8.7. It has now been upgraded again to an 8.8, nearly a 9 on the Richter scale. Very, very strong. We've got a tsunami warning across the entirety of the island chain. Every area that you see right here in red is under that tsunami warning. Now is the time to take action. Again, move away from the coastal areas. If you're in a building, move at least 4 or 5 stories up to get as far away from sea level as possible. And of course, make sure that you're making preparations now. The earliest potential arrival of the tsunami over in Hanalei was predicted to be 7:10 and potentially 7:17 for other parts of the state. A closer look again at the tsunami energy. We have this fault line. Earth's plates are rubbing together, creating that underwater earthquake. And again, it's displacing this vertical push of seawater, and that's what moves closer to the shore, and it gets taller. That column of air here, a column of water here, gets pushed up, and that's what makes these waves so tall. It spreads into shallower waters, and it grows in height. That's why it's so damaging. Again, like we've been mentioning, it's possible that this tsunami, when it arrives around 7 p.m., could be arriving around high tide for some of the state. So around 7 p.m., we could be seeing 0.1 to 0.3 meters, potentially even up to 1 to 2 meters around 8 p.m. This is tsunami surges of energy. Again, this is unpredictable, strong currents. We're watching this very, very closely to see how this evolves. This is the time to take action. This is the time to be prepared right now. Just a deeper look at the magnitudes out there. Again, this is an 8.8. We typically see an 8 around once per year. So we see a large earthquake like this around once per year. A 9 once every 10 years. So this could be close to that, 1 every 10 years. And of course, we are under a tsunami warning. Now is the time to take action. That was a closer look at what's going on. Let's send it back to Mark and Ben.
All right, thanks very much, Drew. Of course, we have had some areas that are starting to back up. We're having reports of Alameda Boulevard backing up over from Waikiki as people try to leave. But once again, you should do what your hotel does if you are visiting. You do not have to leave the hotel if you're in a high-rise. If you are, go up to the 4th or higher. It's called a vertical evacuation. And so don't tie up traffic that way if you don't need to leave, especially if you're a visitor and you're in a high rise. You should be safe on the 4th floor above, but do not go to the beach because the Department of Land and Natural Resources has had officers that we've seen earlier this afternoon trying to get people away from the water. Yes, it's a couple of hours beforehand, but they don't want to take any chances as far as anyone not having heard of the alert or something like that. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes people will not be getting the alerts on their phones like we had at 4:10. So
it's happened several times already where the alerts have gone off on our phones on air. The first official siren came down at 4:10. There will be another one at 5:10, at 6:10. Once again, all leading up to the anticipated first arrival of the effects from this 8.7 magnitude quake. We are getting videos sent into our newsroom from across the state. We want to play something and give you a look at what the scene on Maui when the sirens came down. Again, this is not a live siren. This is when the siren occurred earlier this afternoon.
Of course, people in Kahului now are starting to leave because Kahului is in a low-lying area. There are several areas that are definitely at risk of a tsunami. That looks like that's around Maui High School, maybe. That looks like that area, one of the places that were evacuation areas. We haven't had a list yet, or we haven't gotten a hold of the list yet for any refuge areas or any shelters for Maui County as of yet. I'm pretty sure there's one out. We just haven't had it. Here's more from Maui, but this is Oahu actually.
Yeah, so that was the moment the tsunami warning sirens went off on Oahu.
That's the Kalihi YMCA on the right, so that's going up Likelike Highway.
Up Likelike. Horrible traffic around Oahu right now, as many are leaving for evacuation sites. It officially became a tsunami warning about 10 minutes before 3 o'clock this afternoon, after which we saw traffic jams throughout different areas of the city. This is in a Cook Street parking structure. You can imagine private businesses told their employees to head home. State and city workers were told to go home. So everyone hitting the roads all at one time. You can also expect to have plenty of lines at grocery stores, gas stations as well. What we see in these types of events, that is a look right now at the alert that came down. That applies to Hanalei, but we all got some sort of version of the expectation of the 710 wave.
Yeah, once again, this is a statewide event, and do not be alarmed. Well, don't panic is our basic message. Again, 4:35 right now. You've got about 2.5 hours, if I'm doing the math correctly, to take action and do what you need to do. Here's a list of the Kauai emergency shelters. Once again, Kapa'a High School, Kapa'a Middle School, Ele Elementary, also Kauai Community College. We also have the Kalaheo Neighborhood Center and Kilauea Elementary School that are open, and Kolo Library is also open. Again, that's a list of the emergency shelters. On Hawaii Island, we've got Pu'ueo Community Center, Panaeva Park, Kea'au Armory, as well as Pahoa Neighborhood Facility, Ka'u District Gym, Yano Hall, and then a little bit farther south in Ka'u, Na'alehu Community Center, the Kealakehe High School Gym, the Waimea Community Center in the upper elevations for those who need it, and also Hisoka Gym that's located, and the Honoka'a Gym. Those are the Hawaii Island emergency shelters.
Yeah, we're compiling different lists of the shelters at each of the different counties. If you didn't hear moments ago, we just got this update that the U.S. Army and U.S. Navy have opened Kolekole Pass from Lualei Naval Road to Lyman Road. This route is now accessible for emergency use and may be used by residents as an alternate evacuation path. Motorists are advised to use extreme caution and follow all posted signs and instructions from military and emergency personnel. The pass will remain open until the all clear is given by emergency management authorities. So Ben, Kolekole Pass being opened and being used for what it's designed for, in events of a disaster and an emergency situation, providing accessible relief for Leeward Coast residents.
Yeah, there's always been this concern as to what would happen in an emergency, a hurricane, a tsunami, an earthquake, for areas like, for example, hate to say it, but Lahaina, one way in and out. That's very accessible. Also, obviously, the Waianae Coast, there's like 16% of roadways around Hawaii which are just one way in and out of a particular area. So we understand what's going on in Waianae, the Waianae Coast. If you are in an area where you can go into higher elevations, because you do have the valleys, you do have some areas where you can go a bit further inland and be out of a tsunami evacuation zone. But if worst comes to worst and you really need to get out for whatever reason, or you've got relatives who are outside of the evacuation area or outside of the Waianae coastline, we understand what you're going through. Be patient. But again, Kolekole Pass has been opened by the military for your use to evacuate and will remain open until an all clear is sounded. And that obviously hasn't happened yet. We're still under a tsunami warning.
What we're seeing right now is the transportation response to all of this, right? Because you have so much time before the first anticipated arrival, these are the types of updates you're seeing. So Kolekole Pass is open back up. We just got this notification that the Hilo Airport is closed as of 3:30 p.m. No commercial flights in or out. So once again, the Hilo Airport has been closed. anticipating, what we're going to be seeing from this wave. And then also, we saw that shot earlier from Waikiki. Those still on the beach. Here's an update in regard to Waikiki. International Marketplace will be closed for the remainder of the day out of an abundance of caution for the safety of tenants, employees, and guests. That isn't, because people would be going to shop at this moment, but we're saying that as an indication of what's going to be happening in the surrounding area. That's going to be one of many businesses closing its doors for the day if they haven't already.
Yeah, I think it'll be plenty obvious for a lot of people that, trying to leave or get around or, thinking, why is the store closed? But again, it's because we are under a tsunami warning once again. Again, International Marketplace is closed. We also have a lot of areas where the traffic is backed up.
Yeah, we're getting video of traffic sent into our newsroom from all across Oahu right now. This is heading out to the Kaneohe area. So if you are in this, you're listening to the audio on your phone, listening to our newscast. Thank you for joining us. But you are not alone in the traffic right now. We are seeing traffic heading out to the windward coast, heading out to the leeward coast. The opening of Kolekole Pass should alleviate that. There's traffic around town on the freeway as people are heading out to their evacuation sites or stocking up on supplies.
Also, we've been hearing from the Coast Guard about vessels at sea. Obviously, we are an island state and surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, and the tsunami will be coming in. The Coast Guard has been telling vessel owners to get their vessels out to sea and follow those procedures. We have some video of one of those boaters preparing at the Alawai Small Boat Harbor.
I'm just gonna get prepared in case I have to hitch it and take it into higher ground. I'm just gonna untie it, get everything ready, hooked up. So all I gotta do is hitch up and throw it away.
What do your other buddies out here have to do?
They gotta go out. They have to, unless they're gonna ride the storm, they're gonna have to go out past the swell.
With a tsunami, that's pretty safe.
Yeah, if you're on the other side of the swell, but it looks like the swell is gonna be coming from the north. So it'll wrap around the island like this. So they'll probably have to go out this way.
So once again, the Coast Guard telling people to get their vessels out to ocean, or if they are on land, to definitely get those vessels away. This is a shot of people in line to get gas at Eva Beach right now. And so there are a lot of people trying to prepare, get some last minute gas in case there are electrical outages, but just basically to top off at this point. So again, use some patience here because there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people trying to get their preparations done because of the tsunami warning, and also to be getting out of areas like Eva Beach to try to, basically be out of an evacuation area.
And we continue to receive these images. Here's a aerial view from Ala Moana, overlooking Ala Moana and Atkinson. You can see just the all along Ala Moana Boulevard, which is to be expected. This is something that turned into a warning just before 3 this afternoon, moments before an expected rush hour. Right, Ben? So you have all these people on the roads right now. DLNR is going throughout the coastlines, clearing people out, telling people to leave the area. You have many employees who are in the downtown business district or throughout Honolulu heading to the roads right now. So a high view. Traffic is just horrible right now. Please be patient, but this is a matter of not panicking, but be prepared. There is time. So 7:10 is the expected arrival of the first wave following an 8.8 quake in the far east region of Russia. And this is also what you see typically in these types of moments, right, Ben?
A lot of people getting their water over at Costco. At last check, I don't know, there might still be some, but people are getting their supplies. This is not like a hurricane, but at the same time, there is still the possibility that maybe infrastructure could be affected because some of the coastlines have some of the electrical places. Hiko has the Kahe power plant. Maybe it won't be affected, but it is a major power producer on the island of Oahu. Also Pearl City, that power plant there too, pretty close to the water. And so there are indications, well, I won't say indications, it's just that there is the possibility, but people but trying to be prepared, getting their water at Costco earlier this afternoon.
Everyone's getting prepared. City officials are getting prepared. We have a shot from inside the city's emergency operations center right now. You see Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi in front as the city's emergency officials have gathered, just waiting to see what will be unfolding, monitoring any updates that may be coming in right now. This is a statewide event. All of Hawaii is under a tsunami warning right now, with the first wave expected to arrive at 7:10. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins is tracking those updates and has information for us. Hey, Jen.
Mark and Ben, all very good information that you have been sharing. We have been seeing some of those updates coming our way, and I have to say that this, which is great news to see that the city and the county has been prepared, and it looks like everyone is preparing well. Just a reminder, tsunami warning is in place due to this large earthquake that occurred in Russia at 8.8 magnitude, the depth at 19.3 kilometers. And with this caliber, that's why you can see the waves travel so far, as fast as a jumbo jet. We're talking about 500 plus miles per hour traveling over open waters with those tsunami waves. Tsunami warning is up, and it's going to be up throughout the next several hours. First wave expected after 7 o'clock. The closest to the epicenter is where the biggest tsunami waves have been reported. Of course, just off the coast of Russia here, we're talking about 3 to 4 meters. 9 to 13 feet has already been reported, and the NHK reported the first tsunami wave at 30 centimeters, so not very large in Japan quite yet, but they're expected it to be quite large into the next couple of hours. This is how it's going to break down. The tsunami readings already coming over Russia and Japan. Hawaii expecting to forecast anywhere between 1 to 3. That's where it's going to fall under, at 3 to 10 feet expected. So expected after 7 o'clock. Guam expected the same kind of forecast at 1 to 3 meters, and that's 3 to 10 feet as well. None confirmed yet there. History has shown this magnitude with the depth in between 8 and 9 in 1959, magnitude 8 from Russia. It generated anywhere from 0.1 to 0.2 meters. That was just under a foot, expected under about 0.3 in this situation. Hilo saw the most damage in past tsunamis, and with all the boats and also the caliber of this, it could create even some foundation concerns for some of the houses that are very close to the shoreline or even right at the harbor there, all those boats that are parked there. So this is the time to prepare. This is going to coincide with the strong currents, rip currents coming our way, very unpredictable, as you know, and possibly some coastal flooding coming our way, coinciding with the high tide. So the high tide is peaking at 7:03, expecting the first wave to come our way at about 7:10, and it is coming in at 1.52 with that high tide. So on top of that, we're getting that tsunami energy coming our way. So for the first wave of energy, expected it to fall maybe at 0.1 to 0.3, and potentially could get up to 1 to 2 meters. It highly depends on how fast it travels over open waters, and unpredictable with those strong currents like we're talking about. So a lot of moving parts, a lot happening, and we're getting closer to that 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock hour. So definitely prepare calmly, but I have to say, guys, it's amazing to see the city, county, and all the residents come together in a fashion that has been fairly calm despite the chaotic news of the tsunami coming our way.
Thanks very much, Jen. We are, of course, trying to cut through the chaos and give you some calm, cool, and collected information. So once again, this is not a time to panic, but it is a time to take action. A lot of people, unfortunately, are taking action all at once. It's not their fault, but it's because the tsunami warning came down and then everybody started leaving at once. Case in point, Ala Moana Center, of course, the stores started closing there, and we did see a big traffic backup coming out of the parking lot. I think we've got a little bit of video of that. You can see traffic
this is
at a standstill.
This is happening in parking structures all throughout the city right now and all throughout the state, as everyone was leaving at the same time. once the warnings came down. We are also receiving some new information on kind of the effects of this tsunami in other parts of the world. We had mentioned that a tsunami has already been seen in parts of Russia near the quake's epicenter. Japan was also under a tsunami warning, and Hokkaido is seeing the effects. Information is emerging from Hokkaido. The Japan Meteorological Agency said a tsunami measuring 1.3 feet was detected in Tokachi on the southern coast of Hokkaido, the northernmost of the country's main islands. And so early readings are coming in, Ben.
Yeah, it's a foot, and 1.3 feet may not sound like much, but once again, we will still have to be on the lookout for strong currents, because once again, this is not just the ocean surface, this is the entire water column that's being affected. And so we're going to at least see currents. We also have traffic, not only in Ala Moana, but also Ko'olina. This is what we are seeing getting out of that area. Most of these people, hopefully, were folks who were on the beach, who were maybe in the lower townhouses. But once again, if you're in those taller buildings, out in Ko'olina or anywhere else, if you're in the hotel district, if you're in an office building, 4th floor or above, that's where you should go. You will be safe there, no matter the size of the tsunami. So again, 4th floor and above, do what's called a vertical evacuation. You don't have to leave the area. Just go to a higher floor, 4th floor or above, and you will be safe.
We've seen traffic in Waikiki, Ala Moana, parts of urban Honolulu, out on the leeward coast at Ko'olina. We also have shots of the driving conditions along Oahu's windward coast right now. This is the Kaneohe Kahalu'u area. As you have traffic in, this is also an area too where, much like the leeward coast, a lot of high degree of concern among residents here to make sure that you have an evacuation plan and you have something in place, you have somewhere in place in times like this.
Yeah, especially this area, you're going to see a traffic backup nonetheless, because all these homes that you're looking at, they're very close to the ocean. No doubt they are in an evacuation area. Also, some people had to be told to evacuate. This is what it was like when HPD has been going out along the coastlines telling people what they need to do.
To evacuate Ala Moana Beach Park. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes. If you fail to comply, you are subject to arrest. The tsunami wave is expected to be hitting soon. Once again, you need to move to higher ground. You need to move to higher ground. You have 10 minutes.
Yep, definitely clearing out Ala Moana Park, a very popular place for, at this time of day, there would be a lot of people swimming, a lot of people jogging or walking. And so there are, again, Ala Moana Beach Park is closed. Don't go there. And as police have been saying, you're subject to arrest. Also, Kekaha, Kauai, we have video from that area of the traffic backup along the highway. So there are a lot of people trying to move away, to move to safety, moving to higher ground, or at least maybe get home if they're one of those workers or people who are at work, trying to get to their family or their loved ones to make sure that they're prepared as far as tsunami preparations go.
And a lot of these shots that we're seeing of people driving out are mainly in the coastal areas, right? So Ko'olina, Kekaha, Kaneohe, and Kahalu'u. So you just have residents in the area taking action, and there is lead time on this. The first wave is expected at 7:10. The next siren is expected at 5:10. So that's going to be in the 5 o'clock hour at 5:10, and there will be another one at 6:10. We have some video of the moment the sirens came down on Maui earlier this afternoon. Again, this is not a live siren. This is from earlier this afternoon.
So that's one of the first indications, at least on Maui, as the siren sounded. We did have the first siren sounded about 3:25, a little earlier, but again, sirens are going to be sounding hourly, 4:10, 5:10, 6:10, as we look at Kahului with Iao Valley off in the distance. We also have some traffic backups in Waikiki. A lot of people trying to get out of that low-lying area. Alawai Boulevard backed up as well. We have some video of that, and you've got 3-4 lanes of traffic backed up considerably, some viewer video. So just again, use patience, because there are just a few roadways Kapahulu Avenue. You may want to take Montserrat and then cut across over to Diamond Head. If you want to take Montserrat and try to get to Kahala and go back up, that's one thing that you should be able to do.
Yeah, and even when there isn't a tsunami warning, commuting around that area can be difficult at times, but that is a look at Alawai Boulevard. You're seeing a statewide response to this event right now. All of Hawaii is currently under a tsunami warning following an 8.8 magnitude earthquake. Tsunami has already been seen in parts of Russia and Japan. I am told that we have an interview with Kauai's mayor, Derek Kawakami, talking about the county's response. I will be informed when that is ready to go. But we're getting in touch with city leaders. Earlier, we heard from Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi, Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda. Let's go back out to Waikiki right now. I believe this is a live shot. What we saw earlier this afternoon were state officers patrolling the coastline, telling beachgoers to please vacate the area. There are still some on the beach, but it looks much better than what it was about an hour and a half ago when you saw many still in the water. I think also some of the hotels and the businesses may have been helping out with the evacuation response as well, because if those spots are going to be closing, you just want to get everyone to safety. This isn't a time to, be frantic about what could be happening, but be in a safe spot right now. Don't let yourself get caught into a situation where it could get hairy. And then also, too, as we approach the top of the 5 o'clock hour, the expectation is that we'll be hearing from Governor Josh Green in a news conference. We see Kauai County's Mayor, Derek Kawakami. We're told he is ready to go. Mayor, thank you very much for joining us. What is the message that you want to impart about safety for Kauai County residents?
Well, I think you covered it perfectly. I think right now the number one mission is to get everybody to higher and safe ground. If you're in a safe area, then stay safe. Being on the road unnecessarily is adding to the traffic. Right now, our EOC is fully activated. Our IMT is ongoing with planning. It's all hands on deck. The number one thing that people can do is stay calm, stay safe, try to stay off of our roads if you don't need to be there. And if you're a low-lying area in a tsunami evacuation zone, you should be seeking higher ground.
Yeah, like I said, Mayor, we've got about 2 hours before the first wave is expected to, the first wave is expected to reach the Garden Isle. So let's say we've got about an hour and a half to basically prepare to get to safety. What should people be doing in the next 90 minutes?
All right, I believe our connection dropped off. Great question. We'll get to it and we'll relay it. Okay, we have Mayor back online. So what was that, Ben?
Yeah, I think, Mayor, I don't know if you heard the question, but we've got about 90 minutes at most, I will say, to be safe. What should people be doing, Kauai residents be doing in those 90 minutes?
They should be getting to higher ground. Material items are replaceable. Right now, if you don't need to be on the road, you should absolutely not be on the road. You should be seeking higher ground, and people need to stay calm. Right now, there's a sense of almost panic. The worst thing that could happen is causing an accident when people are trying to evacuate. So please, if you're in a safe place, stay there. 2 hours are gonna come real quick. We're trying to evacuate people that are in dangerous areas. And so what people should be doing is staying safe. If they're already safe, try to stay there and stay tuned. Our best information for Kauai residents is kauai.gov/Kima, or our county Facebook page is being updated regularly.
And I think, Mayor, also because there are a lot of coastal areas, because Mount Waialeale basically keeps people from going in or building in. The thing to remember as well, and I'm also talking about maybe visitors to the island, is that most of the roadways along the coastline are 2 lanes. And so you're going to have to practice a lot of patience. Is there anything that, say, law enforcement or others are trying to do as far as guiding traffic, or at least trying to bring some control to the situation?
Yes, they're all there right now. Honolulu is a very tricky spot with a number of 1-lane bridges. And also, people should not be inundating our 911 line emergency. If they're looking for information, please go to our website. Right now, our dispatch is being inundated, quite frankly, with non-emergency calls. They can get all the information they need from our website or our Facebook page. But yes, we are very challenged by the number of lanes on our highways, and that's why we're urging people that if you are safe and don't need to be on the road, do not be on the road.
We saw, too, that there are a number of shelters that have been opened up. What can you tell us about the resources available at these sites?
Well, right now, the number one thing and the number one resource is that we have the
Okay guys, so I've switched this now. This is showing from Japan, showing the storm surge that's hitting in Japan right now.
はい、43まで聞こえてますよ。
So that's helicopter view. It actually doesn't look too bad to me from here, but my understanding is that with tsunamis, the first wave isn't always the biggest, right? Like the water will actually go out first and then it'll come in with one wave, but then you get hit with the bigger wave after. Yeah, that's true, you know, and a lot of people live, you know, in their boats year round. Indy's saying sometimes on the water is actually best. Yeah, like I could see that if it's just a couple foot tsunami. For sure. Hey Snooks, if you've got a link for the coverage, feel free to drop it and I'll pick it up. This is definitely showing a little more than what we were getting from Hawaii, but that's because Japan's in the line of fire much earlier. It's still a couple hours away for Hawaii. And I think it was Snooks, but someone also mentioned that the waves were being reported in Alaska as well. And I tried to find something on that, but this footage from Japan seemed to be getting covered a lot more. Yeah, I hear you, Gerald, too, and I'm looking at this like this is off CNBC. So I don't know, like, is this a planned thing or a staged thing? I'm always skeptical when it's mainstream media, but I have a feeling that their live feed is actually a live feed. Yeah, exactly. Remain calm. A lot of people had lots of notice. We had a comment in here earlier saying, you know, at least it didn't happen in the middle of the night. You know, certainly for the people in Hawaii and further away from Japan and Russia, which got hit first. If you're further away, then you definitely got more warning. We're already moving to the roof there. Yeah, that sounds good, Snooks, because like I'm not going to keep streaming this all night either. I did get encouragement to try to raise awareness for this, you know, to help send out the news for anyone that might be in harm's way. So that's what we're doing. Something just happened with my chat.
Hi.
Let's see here. Weird, it disconnected my chat for a minute there. I actually thought it was going to shut me down.
はい、現在こちら大洗上空になっております。地上付近のですね、風の強さもあるのですが、上空から見るとかなり波打ち際、波が白くなっているのが上空からでも分かります。こちら今ですね、河口付近なんですが、ちょっとこちら上空からの映像分かりますでしょうか。
I'm going to switch back to the Hawaii for a minute. This is all coming through in Japanese, which I think most of us don't understand. But it gives us a little bit of perspective to see what they're getting. It's not like it's wiping out buildings and mulling it over, but I'll keep an eye on it, and if something major happens in the next hour, I'll cover it. Hey Amy, good to see you too. So I'm going to switch back to that Hawaii station momentarily. Just give me a minute.
Vessel or have a vessel or know someone who are in harbors, definitely check to see if they have a plan to evacuate and to get away from the and to get away from the coastline inland towards Malka. And this is going to coincide with high tide peaking at 7:03. High tide coming in at 1.52 feet. High tide and tsunami coming in at the same time. Strong currents and rip currents is going to be a big concern for us with that coastal flooding. Well, it's really hard to say how big the tsunami is going to be, but the initial set of energy arriving at 7:10 in Honolulu this evening could easily be about 0.1 to 0.3, and then gradually getting larger and larger as the night progresses. According to some of the forecast readings, maybe 1 to 2 meters, which is quite significant, more than 3 feet a possibility. Unpredictable, strong currents. That's why you need to stay out of the water. We've been seeing very rough shorelines when we have tsunamis, and we've seen that in history. So something that we'll be watching very carefully are all of these elements coming together. Back to you guys.
We do have crews stationed throughout the island, including our Donica Misaki, who's headed to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. And even our own Daryl Huff, who apparently is stuck in traffic as we monitor the different situations across the roadways. We're getting reports of a lot of traffic jams across town.
This is a statewide response right now. So what we've been showing throughout the afternoon is traffic jams throughout different parts and throughout different counties across Oahu. Many employees leaving their places of business. Governor Josh Green instructed state employees to leave after the warning came down just before 3 p.m. Hawaii time. And this is what we're talking about here. Many hitting the roads. This is from earlier this afternoon, just giving you a picture and giving you a sense right now as residents respond to this warning, which is unfolding in real time. First anticipated wave is at 7:10 this evening. There will be a warning siren going off any moment now. We were told that it will be happening at 5:10. So if that audio does kick in, forgive us here if you're hearing it over the air, or it could be popping up on our phones as well. But the expectation is that another siren will be going off at 5:10, after which we'll be hearing from Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi and city officials here in Honolulu about the response.
Yeah, so of course, you are seeing these images right now of the roads that are just jammed.
Okay, we're working out to get Stephanie's microphone sorted out right now as we're mapping out this response statewide. Traffic jams and traffic backups happening throughout Oahu right now. We are seeing Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi getting ready for a podium at another monitor we are monitoring in the newsroom here. As we give you a look at the backup on windward Oahu, we also saw a similar sight on the leeward coast. Kolekole Pass is opened up for emergency access at this point. Let's also give you video from Hilo right now. Hawaii County residents leaving the area, and you could be hearing the sirens over air right now as the second emergency siren warning of the tsunami warning is going off right now.
So the message that we've been hearing from emergency officials is to prepare, to have a plan in place. Do not panic at this time. As we take a look at the situation here in Kaka'ako, don't wait until the last minute to leave. But if you and your family do have a plan, meet at a meeting place. Make sure that you have the necessary materials, your medication. Make sure you unplug those sensitive electronics. Also, if you live on a boat or if you have a boat, make sure to tie up that boat properly and take it out to sea. So we again are hearing these sirens sounding off on cell phones across the state. Of course, Hawaii under a tsunami warning after a powerful magnitude 8.7 earthquake off the east coast of Kamchatka, Russia.
Let's go to Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi at the city's Emergency Operations Center with an update.
Well, good evening. Well, if you're watching us right now, you're fully aware that the state is under a tsunami alert. That said, what you're doing is the right thing to do. We ask you to pay attention, stay with your media for updates. Here in Oahu tonight, I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who are going to give you some really pertinent information. But I ask that you stay calm. If you're in a low-lying area, please get to high ground. You'll hear about our emergency centers that are open, and let Randy Collins, our Emergency Management Services Director, tell you that. but we need people to cooperate with each other. Right now, the roads are full, people are trying to move. We ask you to stay calm, cooperate, and get to high ground if at all possible where you are. We promise to give you complete updates. Right now, the expected time of anything that might happen here in Oahu is going to be somewhere around 7:15. We're expecting it to be at Kauai around 7:10. We'll know. We've been told by Civil Defense that when it passes the island of Midway, we'll get a good read as to what we can expect, and that's not scheduled to happen for a while yet. But we promise to keep you updated. Please stay close to your media. Listen. If you are in a safe place, stay there. And if you're not, do something about it. Get to higher ground. So with that, I want to bring up Randy Collins, who's our Emergency Management Services Director. Randy.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. As the mayor indicated, our #1 priority is to get people to safety. So get out of the tsunami zones, out of the tsunami inundation areas. Those are clearly marked by the tsunami zone signs that you've seen around that we worked hard in instilling over the past year to make sure that you're aware of where those tsunami zones are. You can also find out more information at www.honolulu.gov/DEM. There you will be able to find all the various types of resources about these tsunami warnings. As the mayor mentioned, our #1 priority is life safety. And so right now it's an easy thing. Get away from the beaches, get inland, and get upward. So that's our message right now. I would also tell you that we are working hard with all of the city agencies and other stakeholders to make sure that we are activating the tsunami assembly areas around the Oahu. And we want everyone to, if you do live in an area that's within a tsunami area, first and foremost, go to a friend's house, go to a neighbor's house, go to your workplace, but go inward and upward out of the tsunami area. If you have no other place to go, then go to the tsunami assembly areas that we have activated around Oahu. Would also encourage you to not call 911 for evacuation out of your home. Depend on your friends and family and your neighbors to help you get out of the tsunami zones. 911 services are not for helping to evacuate. Our 911 services are for in danger of life and health services. And so we don't want to over or inundate the 911 centers. So please make sure that you use all other resources available to you to evacuate out of the tsunami zone and get to those other refuge areas. And again, as a last resort, go to those tsunami assembly areas. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ocean Safety for some information about what's happening on the beaches.
All right. Well, good evening again. I guess the tone was running. So I want to open up by saying if you're watching us right now, no doubt you understand that we're under a full tsunami alert here. And so that said, we at this point are taking that most seriously. And our appeal to you is to, if you're in a low-lying area, get yourself safe, get to higher ground. Okay, we ask people to stay calm, cooperate. We know the roads are full out there. Our anticipation right now, based on the latest information we have, is that we're a couple of hours away from any potential impact to Hawaii. We're going to get, as I understand it, we'll have a better read once it passes Midway, which should be substantially before then, and we'll be able to pass that on. I've come up here tonight with all the right people here to keep you informed. That's what we want to do, and we will continue to keep you informed. So everybody has power now. You have access to your media outlets. Pay attention, listen. We'll try to help you as much as we possibly can. All of our people are out there doing what they can to help people, but the best thing you can do is to help yourself and get you and your family safe. If you can, get to higher ground. Okay? So I'm going to bring up Ocean Safety right now. So.
Thank you, Mayor. Buck Giles from Ocean Safety. Not much to say, but just to reiterate, get to higher ground. Our lifeguard towers right now are closed. We have mobile responders currently giving warnings to people to get away from the beaches and out of the ocean. We've conducted ocean rescue warnings from Diamond Head through Kewalo Basin, as well as on the other sides of the island. But we really need to stress that get to higher ground, get out of those tsunami zones, just be smart and follow what the news is telling us. We will know more information as it comes. again, we are here to help in before and after anything happens. Thank you very much.
Hey everybody that I missed, just a quick address Amy Rabarge's question here. I don't think they're going to issue life jackets or anything like that, and I wouldn't consider that to be a good strategy anyway. Like, yeah, having a flotation devices around is a good idea, but the real damage is going to be from it rolling everything over. You know, like, people are going to be getting impacted if they don't evacuate from areas that get hit hard. And in many cases, I think a flotation device is not necessarily going to help you out. Hey, Kamama, good to see you. Butterfly.
Most everybody said it before me.
I'll turn the volume back up on this.
Fire, any other emergency management agencies to ensure public safety. If you could rely on one another and utilize. If you need to utilize 911 for concurring emergencies. Thank you.
Hi, Roger Morton, Director of Transportation Services. A little bit about our transit situation, that we are planning to stop operating any trip that was scheduled to start at after 6 p.m. So up until 6 p.m., we're going to continue to operate trips. Having said that, some of those trips would not have finished their trip and still be in a possible inundation zone, and so there may be detours that drivers will take people to higher ground if they're in danger. If you are a loved one of somebody that takes the bus and you haven't heard from them, then I would urge you to try to call them and tell them what's going on with the bus service. We have a lot of people that have language difficulties sometimes, and got to get the word out to your loved ones that after 6 p.m. we're going to suspend any service that starts after that point. For Skyline, we're going to run Skyline until the 6:35 trip from Halava, and that'll be the last Skyline. Now, having said all of that, we're going to be monitoring the situation very closely after the event. It's possible that we will restore service sometime in the evening. Thank you.
I want to say it one more time, you can help yourself the best. We're here to help you, but we need you to help yourself as well. We would not be doing this if this wasn't most serious at this point in time. So please take this very seriously, and don't go down to the beach. Don't be looking at waves. Get yourself as high as you possibly can. So with that, if I can answer any questions, we'll be happy to do so. Yes. You know, I would imagine that HPD right now is out there trying to move traffic along to the best of their ability. I know we've gotten some calls that it is horrible, and people are in gridlock, and that's, you know, all I could ask is for people to keep their calm, and we'll try to move things along as best we can, you know.
We're getting calls from people who are disabled. Is there anything they can do with the handy van? Is there anything to try to evacuate or get to higher ground?
Yeah, Roger?
Yeah, we are stuck in 93% of our service right now is running late, and most of our assets are not in a position where we could respond at this point. We urge the families to try to, to take advantage and keep their loved ones away if they're in low-lying areas.
Any other questions? Yes. Well, I know that they're doing a lot down in Waikiki if they're in hotels, and each and every property, I think, has got their own plans, if you will. So pay attention. This is real, and it's most serious. And if they happen to be watching, we don't have these events very often, but when we do, they're real and they're serious. So we just ask you to pay attention, do what you've been asked to do, and we're all going to hope for the best. All right, we'll be back, okay? We'll keep you posted. Anything that we hear that's definitive, that could be of importance in news, we certainly will provide that. All right, thank you.
So this is aerial footage from over Japan, where they're getting the higher water levels now. Let's make sure we're caught up in that stream. Yeah, that's funny, Amy. There was quite a bit of conversation about that earlier.
あ、大丈夫です。こう入り口のところにもなんか防波堤じゃないけどなんかあって、潮が今干潮の時間かちょっと満潮かわかんないですけど、その可能性もありますよね。
Hey Richard, good to see you. Yeah, it doesn't look like Japan's got hit too hard yet, but sometimes it'll come in like a 1-2 punch type of thing. So we could still just be seeing the initial effect of it. But yeah, not quite as bad as what I thought. And who knows if this is the hardest hit area of Japan so far. I don't know.
結構雲がまた出てきましたね。そういうことですね。まあ、レポートをやってるから、こっちに来ることはないよな。ですね。そんなにあれですね、やっぱ波が高い感じはなさそうですね。ちょっと発電所の方向に向かっていただいていいですか。
The initial quake off the far east region of Russia happened about 1:30 this afternoon, was an 8.0. About 20 minutes later, it got updated to an 8.7 magnitude, extremely powerful, very deep below the ocean's surface, and then it was later upgraded to an 8.8. The first anticipated arrival is around 7:10, so we're about an hour and a half away. Governor Green was saying that a lot of the traffic on their way in, throughout Honolulu seems to have dissipated, as many have seemed to have found their sites. We're staying with you throughout this entire time. So is our First Alert weather team. Let's send it over to meteorologist Drew Davis with the latest. Drew.
Let's take a look at some of the historical context for this earthquake near Russia. Of course, I'm going to break this down percentage-wise. We've got the tsunamis that have affected Hawaii. 19% come from the west coast of South America, and this is since the 1850s, so it's a large swath of 150 years of data out there. And notice this, the second most, 16% from Kamchatka and the Kuril Islands just off to the east of Russia. Going down, you've got the west coast of North America. That's about 13%. 13% come from Alaska, and then 12% come from New Zealand and Pacific Islands, and it goes down as you're going closer to Indonesia. Well, you may notice about 6% is actually missing from this chart. The rest of the 6% comes from Hawaii. And I do want to talk about, again, some of the historical context from the 16% that come from Kamchatka and the Kuril Islands. In 1952, we had another earthquake off of the same area of Russia, the same fault line that we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. We had a magnitude 7.5 a couple of weekends ago that actually triggered another tsunami watch. Again, we do have that tsunami warning right now. That watch upgraded to a warning around 3 p.m. this afternoon. There were no deaths from that 1952 earthquake in Hawaii, and I'm just reading some of the information that we have directly from NOAA. But the the waves caused houses to collide, beached boats destroyed piers, scoured beaches, and moved road pavement. And here on Hawaii Island, they had wave heights of 4 meters, a little bit over 3 feet, 1 meter on Maui, 9 meters on Oahu, and 3 meters on Kauai. Again, that's that 16% coming from Kamchatka and the Kuril Islands just off of Russia. Again, this is just a little bit more context to show you that it's very common here in Hawaii, at least over the last 150 years, and that's the only data that we have here, that we see these tsunamis moving across the Pacific Ocean and across the open water towards the island chain. For now, I'm going to send it back to Mark and Seth at the desk.
And we just got this in from Hawaiian Airlines. They issued a statement saying that we are monitoring a tsunami warning for the Hawaiian Islands and portions of the state of Alaska and assessing our flight operations. We are holding flight departures to the islands of Hawaiian Islands on Hawaiian Airlines and Alaska Airlines, and as a safety precaution, flights en route to Hawaii are returning to the mainland or diverting as needed. And guests to or from the Hawaiian Islands should check the status of their flight before heading to the airport. So we're going to be monitoring all the impacts here.
Yeah, and this is a statewide transportation response. When you have this much time leading up to when the initial wave is expired, a lot of the state agencies, a lot of those in the transportation business are, sending out their updates. We heard earlier this afternoon that the Hilo Air
So, good question, Amy. They're not saying that it's necessarily going to hit. So the sort of brownish orange it's just a tsunami advisory, just letting people be aware. If any pinkish purple shows up there, that's a watch, which means it's one level higher. And then any of the areas that are red, I think that is what they're saying is they're expecting is very likely to hit. But in this feed, they're not specifying exactly how hard it's going to hit. does definitely look like Hawaii's going to get hit. But again, it's tough to know to what degree, right? It's very, very difficult. I haven't seen anything that really says exactly how high it's going to be. The range they were giving, I think it was like between 1 and 15 feet for the areas where there's advisories, watches, and warnings. But yeah, they're also saying Alaska, parts of Alaska are likely going to get hit. Japan and Russia already have been getting hit, and multiple parts of the west coast of Canada and America are at least under advisory, if not tsunami watch. Most of these areas it's not too bad. So this one's just on a loop, so I'm going to switch it back to the Hawaiian feed in a minute. Looks like they've just got that looping.
Can you tell us any information specifically about your service members and how they might be preparing?
They are in low-lying areas.
Right, so we do have a couple of installations on low-lying areas. Pilila'au Army Recreation Center was evacuated about an hour ago, so the guests there have been evacuated from the west side. We also have several thousand Galikoa in Waikiki, so those guests are, to be protected from any potential storm surge, or advised to be roughly the third or fourth floor and higher.
Okay,
So the guests at the Halikoa, they're not being evacuated, but they were told to go to the fourth floor or higher.
Right, especially with traffic concerns and that kind of thing. Anyone in a high rise, if you can, the higher the better.
Are you getting any first reports specifically from the Halikoa and just how the situation is in Waikiki?
No specific reports. I did see that there are several folks still on the beach. So I would just really advise folks, take this warning seriously. Your safety should be of utmost concern.
And that is Nathan Wilkes from the U.S. Army Garrison. He's the spokesperson there. Again, Kolekole Pass is open, linking Lualualei area on the west side to Schofield Barracks in central Oahu. That pass was just in an exercise earlier this year, a multi-agency exercise, and it's now being used for real life. Back to you.
Lani, we appreciate that report. And standing by live now is Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda. Mayor Alameda, thank you so much for joining us right now. I'm sure you and your administration are definitely monitoring the situation at this hour. Can you tell us what the county is doing to prepare?
Right now we're at the EOC. We've activated several hours already, and we got all hands on deck. We got all the departments here. And we're working across jurisdictions, so state, National Guard, Red Cross, our county workers as well. We've been through this before, and this is we're not, we're the island with the disasters, right? So it's like a well-oiled machine. So we're doing really well right now.
Mayor, what can you tell us about the shelters available and the resources there that being provided for those that want to attend the evacuation sites?
Yes, absolutely. We activated all our shelters, and so we're sending out messages already, various means, social media, our website, press release. They know where the shelters are at. We also deployed our teams to make sure that there's water and food, and and we're reaching out to our hotels. Those in the low-lying areas, if they need transportation, we have that as well. So we are transporting some folks who need the transportation to our shelters as we speak.
And Mayor Alameda, the alert came out after 1:30 this afternoon. What are you seeing out there on the roads? Are people heeding the warning?
Yes, they are. In fact, there is road congestion. And so, my message to the residents is to be patient. It's a warning, so we have time, and be respectful. And we sent out our police officers as well as our firefighters to make sure that the roads are safe and if we need traffic cops in different areas, we are deploying them as we speak.
What kind of action is being taken as well in regard to the ports? And many have, vessels tied up at harbors. What has been the message there?
Well, that's all, danger zones, right? So, they know the protocols on our island. They're very familiar with what to do with those vessels. In fact, Pride of America, big ship, they knew what to do, and so they head out to the sea because it's safer there. And we took on their passengers. We provided them with transportation to our shelter as well. So, like I said, we have protocols in place. We've been there before, and we're just implementing it as we speak.
And Mayor, do you have a message for air travelers, and can you update us on the situation at Hilo Airport at this time?
Sure. So Hilo Airport's closed. Kono Airport's open, and it's in a safe zone, and so they are continuing their flights, is what I'm told. So if you're coming into Hilo or if you're going out of Hilo, it ain't gonna happen.
All right. Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda, a comprehensive response being activated statewide right now. Mayor, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure we'll be talking with you more throughout the evening as we keep a close watch on this tsunami warning. So shelters are activated. There was a lot of lead up time to this. Many are heading for higher ground. Speaking of which, we caught up back here on Oahu. Our very own Billy V caught up with some residents and visitors who headed up to the Tantalus area in Makiki.
Thank you very much. There's a steady stream of cars up here in Tantalus. People just, trying to find a place to go. Maybe they left Waikiki, maybe they left the lower areas, or maybe they're heading on the freeway and they had to go all the way to the west side. And we've been finding that they've been pulling off of the roadway to come here just to stay, have a place to be for a while until things calm down. We know that's not going to be for a while. But once again, Tantalus is busy right now.
I got told by a friend of mine who's over in Florida right now. He heard it before I did, and so he let me know about the alert, and I checked it out and decided to maybe go up mountain for a minute.
What was happening? What were you doing when you first heard the alert on your, I'm guessing, your phone?
Waimanal Beach, kids were in the water, and then we heard we got the warning. We got the warning, and we immediately left.
Okay, so you guys are up here at Tantalus. What was the thought behind coming up here?
This was the highest point we knew. We came in here yesterday and we were like, instead of going to the hotel, let's just go here. I don't know which port is safer or not. We couldn't ask anyone.
Well, I was swimming in Alamwana Beach Park, and I got done, and I usually check my phone for any emergencies, family stuff. So when I saw that, I go, whoa, and I checked with my family. Get out of the water already, because I did my lap, so I was getting ready to eat. So I got on the road, and I noticed traffic was getting crazy. And I live in Makakilo. We're on the hill now. And I was thinking, no way, that H1 is crazy, congested right now. And the first thing came up, hey, how did it drop? So I took Punaho, I came up here. And
Billy V, Hawaii News Now.
Thanks very much, Billy. I'm Ben Gutierrez along with Drew Davis here in the First Alert Weather Center. And just to recap, we are again under a tsunami warning for the entire state of Hawaii after an 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the east coast of the Kamchatka Peninsula. The first waves are expected to reach Hawaii at about 7:10 this evening, first for Kauai, then down the rest of the island chain, maybe about 7 minutes later for the island of Oahu, and then continuing downward. All of the emergency operations centers for the counties have been activated, and the people are being told, if you haven't heard so already, to be prepared to evacuate if you need to. But if you don't, if you are not in a tsunami evacuation zone, you should stay where you are. Earlier, we had a lot of traffic because a lot of people were let go at the same time. State workers, county workers, just people basically at work, all being let loose at the same time to try and get home, to try to get their belongings, or at least to, just to be prepared as best they can.
And just to recap again, this is an 8.8 magnitude earthquake. Earlier today around 1:30 p.m. Hawaii time, it was an 8.0, upgraded about 20 minutes later to an 8.7, and then reevaluated later to the 8.8. I do want to point out something that Ben and I just discovered as we're trying to get the latest information from the Tsunami Warning Center and the USGS. We're going to tsunami.gov, where you can actually look at those bulletins for yourself. and the page is unresponsive. It seems that there's so much traffic. Of course, this is a national news event now. Everybody is watching on the continental United States and across the U.S. They're trying to get into the tsunami.gov website. Of course, everybody is looking for information. And one of the things Ben and I have been talking about today, of course, this is not something to take lightly. This is the warning. We had the watch earlier. We were upgraded very quickly to a warning about an hour after the watch was issued. This is the time to take, not to panic, but to take action. Start moving in towards Melka areas, moving up 4 stories or above if you can, if you're unable to move Melka.
Yeah, this would be, when we talk about we always talk about the vertical evacuation. So 4 stories or above, this would be for high-rise buildings, including hotels, Waikiki, Ko'olina, we're talking Ka'anapali, also maybe even Kalapaki Beach on Kauai, that building there, even though it's kind of like a little bit higher up, but for peace of mind, at least on Kauai, move up to a higher floor. You don't need to evacuate the area. Also, emergency officials and we are telling you, if you don't have to evacuate, don't. Stay home, don't clog up the roads. And the worst thing you can probably do is try and go and take a look-see. There's a live look right now at Coconut Island, Hilo Bay, where we have seen in the past some currents that have been coming in. Earlier we talked about, the governor during the press conference that he had, talked about how we don't really know how big the waves are necessarily going to be, because we do have the buoys that take the measurements right close to the coastline, right along Kamchatka, right off Kamchatka, right off the Aleutian Islands, and then you've got this big, wide open ocean where there's no data.
It's just open ocean in between the peninsula and us here in Hawaii, so we have to get the information from Midway and other Pacific Islands before we can really have an idea. We still have the warning up. It's still very important to take this seriously. I do want to give some stats here. We've had a couple of earthquakes, again, 16% of earthquakes since 1850, so about a little over 150 years of data keeping of tsunamis here in Hawaii. We've had an earthquake in 1923 from the same fault line. That was a magnitude 8.3, so a little bit weaker than what we're seeing out there right now. And it took about 6.5 hours to arrive to Hawaii. It caused $20 million in damage and killed 1 in Hilo. 1952, it caused another tsunami, a 9.0 magnitude earthquake, a little bit stronger than what we're seeing with this one, caused $894 million in damage. So, of course, there is cause for concern, especially when it comes to infrastructure and potentially impacting those near coastal areas.
Yeah, and when we're talking, remember that the Fukushima tsunami was generated by a 9.1 magnitude earthquake. So 8.8, that's very close in magnitude. It is a little bit weaker because, again, the magnitudes are exponential, but when you start getting into the upper 8s, the lower 9s in particular, and when you start getting to 9.2, which I think was the Chile earthquake, definitely it's something to basically be aware of and to be prepared. Right now, let's head back to the desk with Mark and Steph.
Thank you very much there, Ben and Drew, for your analysis there. We also just got a list here, and we'll read that off for you, of the shelters on Maui. But first, we want to show you these images just into the newsroom of the busyness at the gas station over in Eva Beach. You can see long lines of people there, and you heard from Mayor Blangiardi and other first responders said, please just keep your cool. The roads are congested, but on the lighter side, we are actually seeing that traffic is tapering off in some areas.
Yeah, in certain areas. I mean, through the thick of the afternoon, coinciding with the typical rush hour, there was traffic gridlock in parts of Leeward, Oahu. We also saw lines in Windward, Oahu. In town, we want to pull up this video. This is many flocking to grocery stores to stock up on supplies at Don Quixote. This is kind of what happens in an event like this. We see this with hurricanes. The good thing about tsunamis is that you have typically several hours to prepare. But backups throughout Honolulu County, but we also saw footage from across the state as well. We also have this footage right now. It was an aerial shot of traffic in the heart of Honolulu. Let's pull that up right now. If you can see just the backup when coinciding with when the warning came down.
That's right, and they have them toilet paper, bottled water. Make sure you have those important medications, food to last a
Okay, folks, so I did drop the link there to the stream source, which was a news channel in Hawaii. That's it right there. I just dropped that link. And then I've now switched this. We've got this live cam coming from Waikiki Beach, Waikiki, Hawaii. And this is right off Earth Cam. Gigi was asking when are they expecting the tsunami to arrive, and it's approximately 2 hours from now. So I'll drop the link to this as well, and then I'm going to shut this down in a couple minutes. I'll keep up with the chat, make sure we're caught up. Let's drop that one. So that link that I just dropped there is to this live feed from EarthCam, which is actually a fantastic YouTube channel. If you guys haven't subscribed to EarthCam, check it out. Anytime something happens, especially in the States, because that's where they've got the most cameras. But they have cameras all over the world. It's a great website, and they've got some fantastic camera feeds. Yes, and thank you as well, Independent Many United. Always appreciate you. Saw you in at Salivate Metal's live stream earlier tonight, and I was going to drop your link, but I know like Sal, he's not always on, dropping links all the time and sharing out so much. What he likes is when people that come in and really support him, he'll shout them out and specifically say, make sure you check out whatever channel, and that's what I usually focus on. But I know I've dropped your link there a few times before, and I will again, for sure. So I hope everybody is subscribed to Independent Many United. She's going to have her fantastic live stream Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you all there. Hey Carol, good to see you. So I am going to shut this down. We're at the 2.5 hour mark, and the whole objective of this was just to raise awareness and get people aware of it if they're not. And from what I can tell, every time I go to one of the live streams here that are covering it, there's literally like 10, 20,000 people watching, like on the mainstream media channels. So hopefully my drop in the bucket here in helping getting awareness, maybe a couple lives will be saved, and you guys can put out the word as well. Thanks so much, Carol, Indy, Snook, Silver Shelby, Stacker, everyone that was in here. Who else did I miss that was just in here recently? Gigi. Of course, Gigi, make sure you check out her channel. Cajun Sovereign. Gerald Draper, Amy Rabarge, Richard Metcalf. I know Neil was in here earlier. I'm not too sure about that cycling guy. Only cycling, or whatever his channel was. I don't want to bash anybody, but I know he already admitted that he's an activist, so he likes to rile people up. But in any case, we didn't ban him, and he left on his own reasoning. So thanks again, everybody. Have a good, safe evening and balance to the rest of the week. And I hope to see you over at Indies Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Ciao.